Hello, you are tuning into Donai Radio and Television Station. Coming first with local news. On May the 10th, Deputy Prime Minister Vũ Đức Đam, head of the steering committee, chaired the meeting of the National Steering Committee on COVID-19 Epidemic Prevention. At the meeting, members of the steering committee all agreed to immediately and firmly prepare for the scenario of 30,000 people with COVID-19. According to the Ministry of Health, the fourth outbreak in Vietnam was determined to be more difficult and complicated due to the emergence of new virus strains, especially strain B1617, discovered in India. Epidemic appeared simultaneously in many localities and in health facilities as well. The Ministry of Health is working with relevant ministries to prepare to respond to a worse epidemic scenario. Accordingly, applying IT to trace, prevent and fight epidemics, at the same time to prepare medical facilities to conduct regular screening tests in crowded areas. Members of the steering committee agreed to immediately and firmly prepare for the scenario of 30,000 COVID-19 cases. The Executive Board of the Centralized Isolation Facility for Disease Prevention and Control COVID-19 in Định Quán District on May the 10th surveyed and checked the facility at the Centralized Isolating Facility living in Hamlet 5, Commune Langa. With the complicated situation of the COVID-19 epidemic, in order to ensure timely handling of all epidemics, the quarantine facility at the former vocational school number 8 were restarted. The facility has a size of 100 beds. To ensure the conditions of facilities and equipment, in recent days, Định Quán District has directed forces such as the police, the military, the health and caterers, civil servants and departments in Langa Commune. The quarantine facility has been cleaned. At the same time, chloramine B spraying and disinfection were carried out. The facility has now also remodeled the electricity and water systems and equipped with beds, tables and chairs and essential items such as mosquito nets, blankets and personal belongings. The U.S. Department of Agriculture (USDA) has forecast that Vietnam would maintain its position as the world's second biggest rice exporter this year. According to the USDA, the demand for food consumption and reserves in the world in 2021 is still high. Global rice export volume is expected to be about 44.79 million tons, up 1% in compared to 2020. Analyzing the rice exporting countries, USDA forecasts that India will continue to be the largest rice exporter in the world and to be expected to export 15.5 million tons, an increase of 940,000 tons compared to 2020. Vietnam maintained the second position with 6.4 million tons, up 233,000 tons. In the first 4 months of 2021, Vietnam exported 1.89 million tons of rice because rice export prices continued to be high, reaching an average of $534 per ton, an increase of 13.4% compared to the same period last year. So despite a decrease of 10.8% in volume, the total export revenue will still reach $1 billion, up 1.2% in value over the same period in 2020. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani on May the 10th ordered the country's government forces to implement a 3-day ceasefire at the proposal of the Taliban during Eid al-Fitr. In a statement, Ghani informed the Afghan security forces overseeing the ceasefire the Taliban has issued. In addition, Mr. Ghani also called on the Taliban to declare a permanent truce aimed at ending the war. Earlier that same day, the Taliban and the Afghan government announced a 3-day ceasefire during the Eid al-Fitr holiday, marking the end of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. State Department spokesman Ted Price said yesterday the country welcomed the Taliban's announcement of the ceasefire. The U.S. also urged the Taliban to extend the ceasefire. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration said Monday the shot is safe and effective for children ages 12 to 15. The vaccine is already available under an emergency use authorization to those 16 and older. The FDA's decision is an important step to ensure middle and high schools can reopen and that students can study face-to-face during the school year next fall. Children need to be vaccinated to improve the overall level of immunity of the country. While community immunity may not be achieved, getting more vaccinated reduces the number of COVID-19 infections, hospitalizations, and deaths. That's all for the news today. Thank you for joining us and goodbye.